Do you think this is a sprinkle of what is to be expected in the midterms? Do you think Republicans are going to lose big now that a lot of people are going to start feeling the pain of the government shutdown? Or do you think the Republican Party still has some time to turn everything around and be able to win in the midterms?
I think it's still very early to say. If for any reason tomorrow Republicans decide to cave in, from the shutdown and then go ahead and give Democrats what they're asking for, I think that could turn the tides. In politics, they always say that 24 hours is a lot of time in politics. But according to Trump, it was expected because almost all those elections happened in Democrats territory. They voted for the Democratic Party because of the government shutdown was a big concern for a lot of voters. I think in 2 weeks' time, they will probably be able to settle the shutdown.
What do you expect Trump to say? You don't expect Trump to concede. When he lost to Biden, he didn't concede, right? He believed the election was stolen, and he still believes that the election was stolen till today.
I think cities should be affordable, and then the people that live there should be able to live there.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Y&E podcast. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, share, engage with us in the comment section. So we're discussing the elections in the U.S. yesterday. It looks like the Democratic Party won big in some of the elections. Mamdani won as the mayor of the New York City, starting his term in January 2026. And then Spanberg won the governor of Virginia. She made history, is the first female governor, defeating Republican candidate Winsome Earl Sears. Mickey Sherry won in New Jersey. Gaza Ashmi won as a lieutenant governor of Virginia, and Jay Jones, attorney general of Virginia. And some of the ballot measures also that were supported by the Democrat Party also won big. California proposed Proposition 50, allowing Democrats to withdraw congressional maps, just like Texas did. So, yeah, it looks like it passed. And also, Pennsylvania Supreme Court, they retained 3 Democratic justices, which is a good news for the Democratic Party. So do you think this is a sprinkle of what is to be expected in the midterms? Do you think Republicans are going to lose big now that a lot of people are going to start feeling the pain of the government shutdown? Or do you think the Republican Party still has some time to turn everything around and be able to win in the midterms?
I think it's still very early to say. If for any reason tomorrow Republicans decide to cave in, from the shutdown and then go ahead and give Democrats what they're asking for, I think that could turn the tides. In politics, they always say that 24 hours is a lot of time in politics. I think they still have time to turn the tides, but definitely last night was a big night for Democrats. But according to Trump, it was expected because almost all those elections happened in Democrats territory. You know, Democrats basically owns New Jersey. They basically owns New York. They basically owns, I think it was Virginia. So those were in their territory, and California knows, I mean, that's almost the headquarters of Democratic Party. So according to people and according to Trump specifically, I think it was expected. They were probably hoping to flip some seat and then make some gains, but it did not happen. And according to Trump as well, he said the reason why they voted for the Democratic Party is because of the government shutdown was a big concern for a lot of voters. Then we'll see how that pans out. I think in 2 weeks' time they will probably be able to settle the shutdown, and then I think everything should be back to normal. The whole almost all the elections, the one that interests me most was the New York mayor election. That was a very interesting election. It was interesting because it shows that, anybody can move to the United States and become whatever, basically an immigrant, almost according to Andrew Cuomo, the candidate has never had a real job. no experience, and here he is, a mayor elect. So in January, he will be sworn in, and then this is a motivation for people that move down here, wherever you move from. It means that you could actually have a future here if you don't get yourself involved in things that would derail your life. Just work hard, put in the work. Maybe someday you will be able to achieve something very big. And I'm even more happy that he beat Andrew Cuomo. He beat him twice. He beat him in the primary. He beat him in the main election. I think Andrew Cuomo was just too confident. In fact, his brother, Chris Cuomo, both of them, they were probably banking on their father's legacy. And I think they probably saw the loss coming, but I think they were hopeful that they would be able to turn it around since they had a lot of endorsement from Elon Musk to Bill Ackman to Donald Trump to almost everybody. And in fact, on the other side, Zoro Mamdani, he barely had any endorsement. The leader of Democratic Party barely endorsed him almost a few days to election. And then Chuck Schumer, even up to now, have refused to endorse him. A lot of Democratic Party have refused to embrace him. So it shows that he put in the work. He ran a very good campaign. He was basically everywhere. The communication was top notch. I think he did everything, crossed his T's and dotted all his I's. And the guy is a very outspoken, very good orator. In fact, I think one of our episodes, I said he was going to be the next Obama, but I wasn't paying attention. I did not pay attention that he wasn't born here. So there is no way he will be the next Obama. So I think I misspoke on that episode. So hopefully this is going to be a springboard for Democratic Party for maybe for the midterm election to help them, the White House or the Senate, and put their house in order. I think Democratic Party should sit down and then study this election, study his campaign, embrace him, and then get their message right. And praise whatever message that this guy ran, the campaign that he ran, embrace it, speak on on the issues that he addressed, and speak on them, double down on them, embrace them. Republicans, conservatives, they don't hesitate in embracing their MAGA stance. So I don't know why Democrats, they always feel some type of way in embracing who they are.
Let me start by talking about Trump. What do you expect Trump to say? You don't expect Trump to concede. When he lost to Biden, he didn't concede, right? He believed the election was stolen, and he still believes that the election was stolen till today. So you don't expect him to say that his supporters lost or the people that he put his supports behind lost. If you had been other way around, he would have claimed all the victories, right? He didn't support this woman in Virginia, and the woman lost. She lost by almost 10 points. And this man from New Jersey, the Democrat running for governor of New Jersey, beat him, even though Trump backed him. He still lost. But Trump will find an excuse in order for him not to concede because he was saying that people said it was because he wasn't on the
On the
ballot.
ballot.
That's why a lot of people didn't show up for him. It was because it's an off-year election. All sorts of excuses other than to say, hey, the guy that I supported lost. Yeah, Trump don't take losses. He doesn't concede to losses. He believes he's a winner and he'll continue to do things, even if he has to cheat to make things work for him, he will. So that's it about Trump. And talking about New York, I think a lot of voters in New York showed up for Mamdani, and Mamdani needs to step up in January and deliver on everything that he promised. I know it's not going to be easy because the billionaires that supported Cuomo are going to start putting plans in place to make sure you don't pay extra 2% in taxes, to make sure that he doesn't succeed in his bid for New Yorkers to have a better life, which is unfortunate. I mean, he beat Cuomo twice. What were they thinking? You would think rich people would be smarter? Maybe they're not very smart. They beat him by over 10 points during Democratic Party primary, and they still allowed him to run under the independent. I agree. Anybody could have ran under the independent umbrella. Eric Adams wanted to run under the independent umbrella, but they didn't allow him. They told him to step down for Cuomo, allegedly, right? We're not there. But, I believe someone else should have ran against Mamdani. It's funny that both party establishment supported Cuomo. Cuomo is one leg in, one leg out of the Republican Party, Democratic Party. And the people from Republican Party still supported him. All because they were trying to fearmonger the New Yorkers to not vote for Mamdani because he's a Muslim, he wasn't born in the US. You wouldn't believe some sore losers already saying that he should have been allowed to run because he wasn't born in the US. The law doesn't say he couldn't run. The law only says he's not able to run as a president if he wants to run. But he, put out good messages. He showed up. He delivered good speeches. A lot of people fell in love with him. He's got a lot of charisma. And a lot of people in New York bought it and they voted for him, which is good. So we just hope that it'll deliver for the New Yorkers and make the lives of the people in New York better. Let me ask you this question. If Cuomo wasn't Cuomo, right? Would you think a lot of these billionaires would have supported him to run as an independent because they pushed him, they ran a lot of ads, they supported him with millions of dollars. I think by Bloomberg, funny enough, used to be mayor under the Democratic Party, supported him with $8 million. Do you think if it wasn't for his last name, he would have gotten much support and gotten over 40% vote that he got?
I mean, that's a very tricky question. I think they were banking on his experience. They were banking on probably his name. He already made a name for himself. He was governor for 11 years, so he had an experience. But I think what really harmed or what really hurt him was he had a lot of baggages, rising from the death from COVID-19. A lot of people died from that COVID-19. Don't forget, they had a lot of makeshift refrigerator outside, just basically refrigerating bodies. And a lot of people said that was his fault. In fact, in one of his media appearance on Fox News, he actually apologized for that. And then he had a lot of issues. He had issue with a lot of women, about 13 women. He was a bad product to sell. Okay. Maybe if anybody else had stepped into the ring, maybe the person would have had a chance other than Cuomo and then Eric Adams. But Cuomo was a very bad product to sell. You couldn't convince people to back him. And a lot of people actually, begin to believe that he's a Nigerian kind of politician. They find it difficult to leave the corridor of power. Now he's out of power completely, In fact, I couldn't even imagine somebody that has been a governor stepping down to run for mayor. It sounds so strange to me, though.
Yeah, I think he's trying to launder his image and get back into national politics. Before he left as a governor, I'm sure he was one of the people eyeing the presidency, eyeing running against Biden in the primary. But unfortunately, what happened happened. I mean, he was accused. We don't know if he truly did what he did, but if the women said he did, we got to believe him. We got to
Yeah,
believe him.
the case went to court. He said they later dropped him from the lawsuit. But I think Mamdani not claimed, I think it's in the public domain, said that Cuomo or the New York State spent almost $10 million defending Cuomo.
Of course, of course. He was a governor, so they had to use the resources of the state to fight for him. And that really didn't make him look good either. So it wasn't the best interest of the people. But I guess at the end of the day, he resigned from the position and then he left the spotlight. And now he's trying to launder his image and come back to the spotlight. But it's easy for people to forget what happened in the past. I mean, you knew this person resigned disgracefully from the position of the governor, and now you're trying to help him clean his image and return as a mayor. It's a shame, and I'm glad the people of New York didn't buy what he was selling. So, like I said, hopefully they'll give him a chance. The billionaires will give Mamdani a chance to deliver for the people of New York, and we'll see what comes out of it. But it still baffles me that it was allowed to run. Cuomo was allowed to run as an independent, and all these people from the left, from the right, supported it, and all because they didn't want a Muslim in there, they didn't want an immigrant in there, they didn't want a young guy in there.
Yeah, I mean, basically Trump said Cuomo is a bad Democrat, but he would take a bad Democrat over a socialist. And I think that's also true with a lot of Republicans and a lot of conservatives. They basically believe that Cuomo is a little bit better than Mamdani. They would take anything other than Mamdani, other than a Muslim, an anti-Semite, a Jew hater, be Israel hater, anything you can think of, a 34-year-old that has never had a real job, according to Cuomo, they will take anything other than, other than him. But in fact, I think in Minnesota, there was another guy that ran for election there, for a mayor there. I think his name is Omar Fateh. He was born here, but he really looked like a Somalian. I think his parents are from Somalia. He was born here, but his look exactly like Somalia. Like, there is nothing that Republicans are not saying about this guy. Even to today, though the guy lost the election to the incumbent, he was run up against an incumbent. So the guy did not make it. But if you listen to his campaign, you listen to him speak, he speaks almost exactly like Mamdani. Basically, people were saying that they shouldn't allow people, if you're not born here, they shouldn't allow people to run for office. But if you go to the Senate, you go to the Congress, a lot of them, those people have a dual citizenships. I think they only have problem if the person is not a Christian, by their definition, and the person is obviously a different color. I think that's where they have the problem. But if you are from Europe, you're a Christian, you're from Europe, you know, obviously they don't have problem with that, but they begin to have problem when you look a little bit different from them. But I think there is also a conversation to be had. Obviously, cities should be affordable, and then the people that live there should be able to live there. The cost of living should not drive them out of the place. But it also means that the city is growing. If the cost of living is going up, it means that people are moving into the city. I can remember back almost 10 years ago, I'll be 11 years ago, we used to pay how much? $450 for 2 bedroom. I don't think you will see any 2 bedroom for 600 or $800 right now. So it means that there is growth going on there, and things will never be the same. So I'm kind of confused when Mamdani was talking about, cost of living and stuff like that. 10 years ago will never be the same like with 10 years with now. And even 10 years from now, maybe by 2035, the rent will not be the same. So I'm kind of confused. Can you help me understand that? I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I think rent in New York it's crazy, and a lot of different things are driving the cost of rent. Number one is the property tax. I mean, if you as a landlord you're getting a bill of maybe you own a property of $1 million and you're paying $10,000 in tax every year, you have to pay another maybe $10,000, $15,000 in insurance. And then if you have a mortgage on the property, you still got to pay the bank. But if you own the property by yourself, yeah, maybe you don't have to pay the bank, but you still have overhead costs. Maintenance will come up. You still have to take care of maintenance, and all of these things are driving the cost of rent. So, I mean, if you call a plumber is not going to charge you less than they're going to charge a homeowner. You're a business, plumber and electrician will charge you their market rate. So if the market rate is $100 per hour, they're gonna charge you $100 per hour. And who's gonna pay for it? Because you're running it as a business, you want to make profit. So you pass some of the expenses to your tenant. So that's one of the reasons why rent is going up, especially in New York. So maybe if Mamdani can control the property tax and maybe find a way to control the insurance, which I think it's impossible to do, maybe if we're able to bring down the cost of living or the price people pay for rent, or maybe the government will subsidize it, and that's another problem entirely. Build affordable apartment or some of those vacant office buildings, they can convert them into affordable apartment for people that are of low income that can start living inside of this unit instead of cramming themselves in a one bed or having issues or sleeping on the street. The prices of goods and services, the price of labor, cost of insurance, taxes, the combination of all these things are driving the rent.
Okay. So, and I think my last question is a personal question to you. We've seen what this guy did. Are you considering coming back and hopefully try your luck?
Try my luck with.
Run for mayor? Or maybe you should start.
Yeah, never say never. Never say never. Yeah, never say
I
never.
mean, this is a motivation. You never know if there will be a blue wave, next election cycle. Because in Marion County here, I've been hearing a lot about about the mayor. Basically, he's no good. So maybe you can replace him.
Yeah, that's not on my agenda at this point, but never say never. You never know what tomorrow might bring. I mean, if you're going to run in the next 4 years or in the next 8 years, you need to start making yourself known in your political party, in your environment, in your community. And I'm not doing that. So it's probably not going to be happening in the next 10 years if it ever happen at all.
Let us know what you think about the election yesterday, specifically about the New York mayor election. What do you think about it? What do you think about the win? Do you think the guy will be able to, to fulfill all his promises? Just let us know what you think, and we'll be happy to engage with you in the comment section.